And back, it's your boy, Edwardo Jackson, CEO, founder, creator of the great Cinema Draft and DraftStream games, where daily fantasy sports meets the movies. It is my pleasure, it is my honor to introduce to the Cinema Draft audience one of the most worldly women I know, someone who has lived in locales as exotic as Singapore, London, Dubai, now decamping from the Pacific Northwest. It is my old high school castmate. It's Kia Davis.
Hi, Eduardo. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a while. So.
Oh, well. All right. Well, I'm glad I finally woke up and got you on here. Well, tonight's Andy Cohen inspired Watch What Happens live style drinking game word will be world. Every time you hear one of us say this word, take a sip of what you're sipping, because tonight's pod will end up covering our favorite movies featuring some of the world's finest locations. All right, so here I ask everyone who comes in the pod, especially our first timers, the world is a viral dumpster fire led by a super spreader. Things are going so bad. I'm desperate for some good news. Tell me something good, Kia.
Good news. Well, I mean, if I'm allowed to sort of give good personal news, the silver lining, to the ash coming off of the flaming dumpster fire is that with all this quarantining, it's been a really great time for me to spend time with family. I just moved back to Seattle to be closer to family, so it's been really great actually to just kind of catch up on Netflix, guilt-free, and really kind of get stuck into that kind of stuff. So it hasn't been a problem for me to be really low key. I don't know if that really counts as news really, because when you turn on the actual news, it's just more flaming dumpster fire. But if you can click off of that, I mean, I guess the one good thing would be that thank goodness we have Netflix during this pandemic, because otherwise, what would we do?
It would be like going back to the 1950s. I don't know how they spent their time. I really don't.
Yes, exactly. So,
well, that is something good. That is something good. Spending time with family, for those of you who like your families. Can't say I'm terribly close to mine, except for my immediate family. But yeah, that is something good. So we'll take that.
Yep.
Okay, welcome to the show with no segues. All right. So this next segment is what we're watching. All right, and I shall share my screen to show you one of the things I'm watching. It's an old reliable. It's an old favorite. I am keeping pace roughly in time with the Down in the Hole podcast. It is, or way down in the hole podcast, sorry. It is The Wire. I am currently in season 4. This is widely acknowledged. I mean, no, it's a fact, damn it. Widely acknowledged as the best show of all time. And it's close. The Wire, Breaking Bad, 1A, 1B, whatever. But I mean, it is my favorite show by hands down. I am currently season 4. The babies, the kids, and it's still early. I'm thinking I just finished episode 403. So before the kids really are forced to grow up fast. But it is probably, it is the best show on television in my lifetime at least. It's awesome. Are you familiar with The Wire, Kia?
Okay, so can I say something? It's quite a bit controversial, but first I want to be super clear. The Wire is a really good show. I'm never going to fight you on that one. One of the things I love about it is it gave us like some amazing actors. Idris Elba at the top of that list, of course, right? And it was the breakout role for a number of other actors as well. So I'll always love it for that. But I have to come clean about something else. I have a lot of family from Baltimore. I spent quite a bit of time there. I own property there. It does not make the city look good at all. As someone who was abroad when The Wire was big and in its heyday, it was not fun to be Black abroad when The Wire was in. I had an Irish friend tell me that she and her boyfriend would watch The Wire and then, and I quote, practice talking jive. So that was kind of my reality. And when I told people that, my dad was in Baltimore, they would freak out, right? So they really thought that he was either, selling drugs on the corner or kind of like holed up trying to avoid those guys. So That's my sort of, let's call it sort of a personal and political reservation on the show, but it really is a fantastic show. It's extremely well written. And the other thing that I'll say is the writers or the showrunners, the creators, have been really great about using it as a mechanism for social justice and to advocate for fairer sentencing and better, better sentencing and law enforcement procedures. So I think that that's really good as well.
This is true. David Simon, fire Twitter follow. and very loquacious, may I say. He likes making up or extending words into some very unnatural rhythms, but he's quite an entertaining Twitter follow. So yeah, great show, The Wire. That is one thing I'm watching. The other thing I'm watching, oh boy, this thing is incredible. It's The Good Lord Bird. Are you familiar with The Good Lord Bird, Kia?
I'm not. I gotta be honest. I hadn't heard of it until until we started talking about me being on the podcast, and I was I haven't seen it. So please tell me all about it.
It just came out. At least the first episode came out on Showtime. They put it up on the app, I think, Saturday night, as Showtime's want to do with their Sunday night shows. And I got around to watching Sunday night, and well, first things first, I ran by the draft. Mom was like, "Hey, you want to follow the show with me?" And she's like, "No." And I reminded her what it was about. John Brown, seems like possibly absurdist, take of historical fiction, whatever. She's like, John Brown, slavery era. I'm out. She didn't have enough. I guess she's all out of Black Misery credits this year. That's fine. I went in.
That's how I would. Yeah, that was maybe my reservation also.
And that's what I call them too, Black Misery credits. But so many I get in a year, and I am very judicious with them. I and this has been an exhausting year, a totally exhausting year. I mean,
oh boy. I mean, I'm definitely running negative in that.
We've had to power up. We've had to get like extended lives worth of in such a year. But I'm this is my lane. I love historical fiction. I think this is taking place during, I guess, post Civil War South. The Reconstruction period is very rarely covered, so I'm always very curious about stuff that takes place in that time. And it's got Ethan Hawke, who looks like from the trailer he was on one, right? So I watched this show. Kia, let me tell you.
What? Tell me.
Yeah, let me tell you. Ethan Hawke, as they say, is going for it. He is so over the top. He is so hair on fire, spittle flying, Bible thumping, gun quoting, Bible quoting, verse quoting, just out of his fucking mind. It is beautiful to watch.
I mean, he's better though than Robert Pattinson as a preacher in Devil All the Time, right?
You know what? Actually, I have not. Thanks for reminding me. That's on my list. I haven't seen that yet. That was in the. What? No, don't give me that look. If you played the game every week, like I play the game, you played a few weeks. I appreciate that. Keep playing. Yeah. We need the data. But if you play the game every week, like I do, you find at least 5 things every week you need to watch. It is. I mean, this game has been great. The DraftStream game has been great for movie discovery, for title discovery. But I
don't doubt that. I just would challenge the idea that there were so many more things at the top of the list. And I'm not even going to say, we're going to get back to this, right? Because this is important, but I'm the good Lord Bird. But
no, it's fine. We do cultural cul-de-sacs around here. Go for it.
Devil All the Time, it's not a must watch because it really is the best movie ever. And there are people who will tell you that. It is not. It is really not. There are people who are Robert Pattinson fans. As you know, I'm really not the biggest Robert Pattinson fan. I was neither a fan of him or the other character that was his terrible accent. But it is kind of a movie that you just have to see. You just have to watch because you don't really know what it is. And because it's such an interesting commentary and an interesting way of doing film. And of course, it has some of these big names. So, and it's also like, mark my words, it's a game changer for Tom Holland, who was, known as Spider Twerp, right? Initially. Yes, they really called him that. And has played all these really cutesy roles. And frankly, he's never been given enough to really chew on artistically. And this is the film. This is the movie. I'm not going to say,
don't tell me too much because I will watch it. I'll probably watch it this week. And I love everyone who's in it. Riley Keough, she always does interesting work. I mean, I haven't seen. I like the cast. Even this guy, Sebastian Stan.
MCU people bringing it. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it honestly just slipped my mind. It is on my list.
Yep.
Right next to the Salisbury Poisonings. That's the one I need to get up on too. And Tehran. I started watching Tehran also. That's what I've been watching too, Tehran. Just started that. That's been very exciting, thrilling. A lot of subtitles though. But yeah, so The Good Lord Bird is wild. It's crazy. Not nary a Black Misery credit need to be spent. Now, of course,
I was going to ask how much I needed to have in the bank.
No. I mean, of course, it's Reconstruction. You've got white people just indulging their nigger fantasies and stuff. But outside of that, I mean, it's. I mean, the fact that he plays John Brown. Now, this is a highly fictionalized version of John Brown. Who knows how the guy actually was back in the time per se? But and it's based off of a novel. So this is they basically took John Brown, made a real character, fictional character. They basically fictionalized him to the point where he is driven by the holy fires of freedom and emancipation and abolishing the stain on human civilization that is slavery. He is all about that abolition life, and not in a white savior way either. Because this guy, I mean, it's not like he's like, I must be, a missionary to save these poor, degraded children. No, it's not even on that shit. It's just, it's literally something insane from within him. And it is fascinating to watch Ethan Hawke just uncork, just let loose. I don't know if Ethan Hawke has a style per se of acting, but he's always kind of struck me as more of a, he has range per se, but he's not like the first person you think. He's not the first person you think when he's like flying off the handle. He's usually kind of like the straight guy, the internally repressed guy. Like, what was it?
Yeah, he's always determined.
Yeah, determined but repressed. And kind of insular. Oh no. Yeah, First Reform. That's a great example. A tortured priest type guy. Oh no. Good Lord Bird. He is on one, and it is a joy to see. It features a lot of absurdist Bible humor, which I'm all about because I'm not religious like that. It's violent in a not quite torture porny way, but still kind of shocking. And just his singular commitment to the fervent abolition of slavery by any means necessary. I think I referred to him into my little Brancy Slack group. Shout out Brancy Slackers. That it's seeing as much possible. It's like seeing a white Malcolm X to an extent. He's singularly focused on abolishing the institution of slavery and means necessary. It's joy to see. Good Lord Bird. Give it a check. Check it out.
Malcolm X. That's really all you had to say. I think that you've done it for me. Yeah.
All right. So, what are you watching, Kia?
So, what am I watching? Okay. So, first thing you're gonna understand is, I kind of go back and forth between, extremes in terms of like some of the heavier, like harder stuff, and then I have to sort of detox with some of the light stuff, right? So I know I was like late to the game. People have been talking about it for years now, but I just discovered the Great British Baking Show. I really did. And yes, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a bunch of British people in a tent for 10 weeks in May, and they're just making cakes and cookies and desserts and pastries. And it is something that until you've seen it, you don't understand what the appeal is, right? It's like any other competition show. It's a bunch of amateurs, they're judges, they're hosts, whatever. But there is something of magic in this show and the way that they pull it off and the charm that it has and the watchability. It has the suspense of a horror show. They start crying, you start crying. It's a damn cake, right? Like that's it. And yet
around
it's so like
for real?
Oh yes. Oh, it is so emotional. Yes, man. And so I just discovered it. Funny enough, this is how I heard about it. I was listening to a podcast of Harvard Business School professors, believe it or not, and one of them recommended it.
As what? For what? Just to watch?
Just to watch.
Okay.
Just, they kind of do the segment at the end of their podcast talking about things that they like. And one of them was like, the Great British Bake Off. And the other ones were like, what are you talking about?
See, this show would just annoy me right now because I'm off dairy and sugar, so I'm like, I can't watch this. I can't watch this.
And I think
maybe at least for my birthday, we go wild for a week though. We go wild for a week.
Most of the stuff, 90% of the stuff that they make, I don't really eat. I'm not really like a cake or sugar. Like I'm not, I don't really love gluten. Oh my goodness, I remember that episode.
Wait, you saw a pastry and you're like, I remember that episode?
No, I do remember that. I absolutely do remember that. Yes, indeed. Yep.
Well, we don't watch shame around here, so indulge. I just couldn't be me.
Yes, I remember that episode too. When you've seen them, it's like it's like revisiting old friends. So there's just something so pure and uplifting and enthralling about the show. Again, I don't know what it is. The sum is more than the whole is more than the sum of its parts. But yeah, that's what I recommend. If you need that soul detox, this is your show. This is your show. And on Netflix, I think they've got 6 seasons, and I think they're drip feeding us with the last one because they're actually releasing it weekly, I believe. Because of course it's a British property, and then came by way of PBS, and then now it's on Netflix. So so definitely check it out. So that's what I watch.
Okay.
To cleanse my soul of all the other stuff that I really love. So in the evenings, I have to watch something like super dark. So at the moment, what's got my attention?
Oh, why do you have to watch something super dark in the evenings?
I don't know what it is, but that's when my serial killer tendencies really start to kind of bubble to the surface. And so thank goodness I've got television and series to satisfy them, because
Are we breaking news here, Kia? Are there some bodies you want to claim out there?
My theory is that actually everyone has serial killer tendencies. All these shows would not exist if I were the only one watching it. Everyone who ever loves
we Dexter, all have a Dexter inside us, huh?
Exactly. So thank goodness we have a healthy outlet for it. At the moment, it's Ripper Street, if you know this one.
Oh, so, I've heard of it.
One of the things I acquired on my 15 years of being outside of the U.S. was a distinct taste for British murder shows. I'm not alone in this. So this one...
Are you sure? No, I was kidding. All right. Yes, you have a whole continent behind you, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. The premise of the show is that it's very late 19th century London, right after Jack the Ripper has stopped killing people. So they don't know who he is. Jack the Ripper, of course, was never really caught, unveiled, etc. And it takes place in the police station in Whitechapel, which was the area that Jack the Ripper terrorized, as they're kind of trying to rebuild. And so the characters it's just like a police procedural in any other way, but it's really just about kind of 1890s London, and all of the dirt and the muck and the corruption and the prostitutes and the gangs and all of that that's happening against the backdrop of Jack the Ripper. So there's something I just saw that episode 2 days ago. There's something really great about it. It's very watchable for what it is. So it's a nice one. But yeah, be warned, it is very gritty, very violent. I hope you can stand the sight of blood, because there's a lot of it.
Well, I can't, and I can assure you this show is not for me, but for all of you out there who are into tapping into your inner serial killer, let's come Kia Davis endorsed.
So if you want one that's bloodless, and I know is on the card, so I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know, but Criminal UK season 2 is another fantastic one. This one, wow. And the format is so incredibly simple. This show is so delicious. I had to ration it over a week. You cannot binge it. There's only 4 episodes in season 2. Each one is an absolute gem in its own right. The acting is incredible. The writing is amazing. You're seeing actors that you thought you knew, but you're seeing them in a very different context. I'll get to one in a second. The premise, of course, is super simple. It's just that bit of Law and Order where they interrogate the criminal to try to get them to break down and confess. That's the whole show. So every episode is a new setup.
And it takes place just inside an interrogation room, the entire thing?
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's like a play. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very similar. So really the intro graphic is really interesting because it kind of turns from white to red, because what you're seeing is the interrogation room itself, but also behind the two-way mirror of them sort of talking and strategizing, right? So you see them kind of, first of all, you see things like when they get evidence, when they change their strategy, when they negotiate, when they argue with each other about the attack, and then you see what's actually happening with the person being interrogated. The other thing that's really clever is that it just opens with the person talking and answering questions, right? So as a viewer, you don't actually know what's going on. So part of it is just like, okay, what's the crime? What's the allegation? What's meant to have happened?
Oh, so it's en media res. I mean, you have no idea what's going on, and they throw you in there.
No idea. You have no idea. And that one that you've got your, that's on your screen now is really like one of the best. And it is terrifying. I couldn't look at Big Bang Theory the same after this. He is so
So he's an actor, huh?
Oh, gosh. He plays such an incredibly creepy, bone-tingling, like spine-chilling character that is just he will make your skin crawl. And again,
and he is English. Okay, I didn't know if he was American or English. I couldn't.
I didn't. Yeah. So yeah, he's excellent, and yeah, no, it's gonna ruin Big Bang for you. It really will. But all of the stories, David Tennant is in there. Kit from Game of Thrones,
King of the North, baby. That's right.
Yeah. Also,
this is a very attractive cast. I love everyone in it. I've admired all their works, and I actually do like Big Bang Theory. People like to turn their nose up at it, but I love Big Bang Theory.
That's really good.
It sounds great. And I'm not sure why I'm resisting this show, but I will say this: based off your recommendation alone, I'm probably going to check out this new season, at least one of them, because one thing I have, I mean, although I have not traveled the world, I have myself become a big fan of what I like to call the Brit Fishent model. They come in 6 episodes in and out, and each episode, it may be an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 4. They don't care. It's like we have a very set story. I don't know if the BBC gave them enough money to do more of a story. Be like, we're doing it in 6 episodes in and out, and we'll make you feel all the feels and make you clamor for more. And so I'm a big fan of a lot of these British dramas. And one of my favorite ones of the last several years was Line of Duty. I had no idea about it until this year, and I caught up in a hurry. I plowed through all 5 seasons. It was gripping. So, and then a major feature of that show every season, there's usually a series of interrogations, and so and thematically, I look at this and like, do I really want to sit and watch a play on TV? But then the other part of me is like, well, you watch Line of Duty, and they're always doing like a 40-minute interrogation. That shit's compelling as hell. So I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm adding it to my little list.
Definitely.
Right now.
I mean, there's the the expression that restraint adds creativity, right? And think about what really strong, really powerful, talented writers can do when they're restrained to 5 or 6 characters in 2 rooms, and that's it, right? And if all your talent has to be on the page, imagine how strong the writing is. So think of it from that perspective. There aren't going to be any car chases or explosions or whatnot, but there is just excellent storytelling.
You're right.
You couldn't trust any set of writers with this. You really couldn't. But the ones that they have are it's fantastic.
Who's behind this? Is this Mercurio? Jed Mercurio or Jim Field Smith and George Kay? Not familiar with their work. Okay.
Yeah. They do have. I looked them up some time ago. They do have a bit of a history, but they don't really have the big names that you would maybe see somewhere else.
I wrote on Killing Eve, though. It's impressive. So Criminal is his franchise, apparently. Spain, Germany, France, UK. Just ride that pony out, boy. All right. Okay, cool. Well, we are going to keep it moving to the next segment. Our main topic tonight is top 5 Globetrotting movies. What are the rules, you may ask, for those new to the podcast? Oh, there she goes. She's clenching up. Is that excitement or is that nervousness?
Exactly. Did you say 5 or 50? Like
5.
Getting this down. And
5.
does it have to be movies? Can it be TV? There's just too much out there. It's like you're forcing me to choose between my children, like which ones to throw off the side of the ship. Like, this is unfair. But if you're forcing me to pick 5, I will.
Well, the great part about choosing only 5 is that as you are a more worldly person than I, you'll have more to choose from, and chances that there'll be duplication will be probably few and far between. But as I was about to explain, for those who are new to the program, the rules are like thus: You name a movie that uses fabulous locations from at least more than one continent. We alternate picks. Once someone picks a movie, the movie is out of play. And as always, our guests go first. Ladies goes first. My castmate from The Crucible. And what was the other one? You were in the musical comedy Murders of 1940, weren't you?
Of course, Edwardo.
Of course, that's right. Kindle Amaze, Kindle Acorn. That's right. So my fellow castmate shall go first. So what is your first film, Gia Davis?
Well, I'm just relocated after spending 8 years in Dubai. So I got to go with a film that factors Dubai. And it's going to be a shout out to my tenure there because this film debuted and premiered in Dubai the week that I got to Dubai. So I got to give it to Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. Sorry, Ghost Protocol. Ghost
Protocol. Yeah, there you go.
Protocol. That's the one. Sorry. Mission Impossible. So this is the one where, like a lot of other Mission Impossible, they're sort of, globe hopping. But the notable scene in this one is Tom Cruise jumping out of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world.
Yeah, baby. Have you been there? Have you been to the top and all that good stuff?
Oh yeah. Actually, I went. Where did I go? I was doing a photo shoot for somebody. I was helping out a friend who was doing a photo shoot for the restaurant in the Armani Hotel, which is in the Burj Khalifa. So we got free food and we got to go to the top for free because myself and this Black Canadian girl who lives in Italy was visiting that week, and I was like, hey, do you want to come to the top of the Burj Khalifa? And surprise, surprise, she said yes.
Of course, How long is that elevator ride?
Oh, it's long, but the thing is, it's two. So,
halfway and cross over and get up to another one.
There's one for the hotel, so you got to go up. So if you live there, you got to go up 40 floors. There's an elevator lobby on the 40th floor where if you're a visitor, someone will escort you to make sure you get on the proper elevator, and then you go up. I mean, and the security in this place is insane. I was there for a party. We had to give our names in advance. My ID and got checked against the guest list like 5 separate times. 5 separate times. And it was a busy day, so I actually had to wait 20 minutes for an elevator at one point. I wouldn't really want to live there, but of course the views are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And no, you cannot jump out of there. And it's not where the movie suggests it is. And sandstorms don't look like that in real life, but
fair enough. Yeah, that's a great movie. So that you have Dubai. What's the other continent they globetrot?
They're in Mumbai.
Mumbai, yeah. Right? Okay.
Yeah. And that's where Paula Patton goes to seduce the Indian businessman.
Right. And it started off in London, didn't it? Her boyfriend getting murdered outside Parliament or something, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it kind of opens in London. Yeah, that's right. And then it pretty much finishes up in Russia, where they have to sneak into the Kremlin.
Yeah. Oh, this one. I mean, yeah. I think this might have been the first one. This was the first Christopher McQuarrie one, right? This is the one that really set yet another new direction for this franchise, because this is the first time Christopher McQuarrie got behind the camera, and you could feel just a surge of energy in the franchise. I mean, in a franchise that was known for doing ridiculous shit. I mean, you had John Woo with ballet, motorbikes and shit in the second. I mean, you've had some really incredible stuff in this series, but it felt like a whole different, propulsive, slightly more cohesive energy when McQuarrie got behind the camera and really made this thing hum. I really enjoyed it. You introduced Jeremy Renner as Brant. You had Paula Patton's character. You had, I guess, at the very end, spoiler alert, whatever, it's been out for years. The whole little allusion to the continued universe of it with, Michelle Monaghan's character being alive in Seattle, which of course is Vancouver.
Okay. Yeah.
So that this one really kind of set up the whole new direction, and now I think we're getting another 2 or 3 more of these virus permitting. So I'm very excited about this whole direction of this franchise. Excellent pick.
Yeah, and one of the things that I just realized with the last one is that Mission Impossible, the franchise, is over 20 years old. Can you believe that?
96. You're right. 96. I think it was the first one, right? 90. Yeah, right.
96. So what are we at now? 24.
That just means we're old. That just means we're old, which is fine. We wear it well. We wear it well.
That's it.
Black don't crack. Drink the water of my children. Yeah. All right. Well, inspired by you. This wasn't even on my list, but inspired by you. I'm gonna take its spiritual cousin off in the most recent one, which was Fallout, Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah.
And this one, I mean, I'm sorry, it honestly could have and should have been nominated for an Oscar. It was probably the best action movie I saw in 2018.
Okay.
You've seen it, right?
I have not seen it, but feel free to spoil it. I was I remember being in the theater and there was an option of seeing it or something else, and I clearly didn't choose it, and I should have just run back because now, of course, I miss movie theaters terribly. But no, I haven't seen it yet.
It is fantastic. This is actually Tom Cruise doing his own stunts like a crazy man. He actually I think I don't think he broke it, but he sprained his ankle on this, whatever, but gets up and starts running, and they had to shut down production for a minute because he was hurting himself doing stupid shit he's not a senior citizen yet, but he's 55. The man's not
there.
He's getting there. But this is what I love about Tom Cruise and his movies. Yeah. All he wants to do is entertain you. He is out. I mean, you need to learn how to fly a helicopter. He learns how to fly a helicopter. He learns how to ride a motorbike. He just does what it takes. Actually, honestly, we're at the point now. He's inventing crazy shit to amp up into his movies because he just wants to do stuff that you haven't seen before. And it's really, this movie, I mean, it does take us everywhere. So I can't remember where it starts, but we definitely cover Paris. They do, oh my God, they do a Halo skydive drop at night into Paris. It is fucking phenomenal. You get Henry Cavill in here with a CIA agent who's just, I mean, you've seen the trailer, right? The little still, the scene from the bathroom where, he's like, he gets in to go boxes. I mean, all that stuff is very, very cool. You go to Paris, you go to what's supposed to be Afghanistan. I think they shot that out in Canada somewhere. But Afghanistan, the wilds are there. You go to Paris. This is great. Angela Bassett, slay queen, slay. Oh, such a great shot. Such a great. You miss Paris. You miss Paris.
Yeah,
is this this is. I mean, the wardrobe, everything's top notch. This thing does look like $100 million, which is probably close to $200 million. The stunts are crazy. Yeah, this is him. This is Cruise on the side of a mountain in what's supposed to be, Afghanistan or whatever. It's typical Mission Impossible. It's globe-trotting around the world. Just continent to continent.
You got a drink. You got a drink.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Hey, where's your drink? Huh?
I know.
Party, damn it.
I know. I put it down in the other room. I'll get it.
No, you don't have to be sober for this. Go ahead, tip one back. You're living the life right now. But yeah, so it's just, I mean, and then this is on the banks of the Thames. I believe there's a whole thing in London also. So it's just a really, really, really fun series that definitely gives you your money's worth. Splash up on the big screen whenever we're able to go see one of those again. Yes, so good. All right, so what's your next film, Kia?
So I would say my next one, it has got to be one of my favorite films in the entire world because I am really cheesy, but Ocean's 12.
Oh, excellent.
Best portion.
What a great pick. Now, backstory real quick on Ocean's 12. That's actually two scripts that smushed together and did it with style. And I really appreciate kind of like, you can almost feel like the two different tonalities between like the art thief guy and then versus like the traditional heist type people. So I really enjoyed that movie. Tell us what you like about Ocean's 12 and the location covers.
I mean, everything. The movie is so slick and sexy and well written. And I mean, yes, Soderbergh at his best. I really like him as a filmmaker, but this is definitely like one of my all-time favorites. They brought in Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes. Great. Oh God, I love her so passionately. I love her.
Julia Roberts playing a version of herself, so hilarious. Bruce Willis parodying himself. Oh my goodness, this movie is so clever and so cute and so funny. And then the cinematography of it is great. It's like a 2-hour, infomercial for the European Tourist Board, right? You've got Amsterdam,
the European travelogue, Lake Como, Italy. Where else did they go? The French Riviera, I think. Yeah, they're.
It is so beautiful, and just really some of the best actors that top of their field, right? So I gotta give it to that. I mean, I've seen this movie so many times. I'll see it a million more times. Damon and Clooney kind of just playing off of one each other. It's great. It's really great. So I would say that's. Just looking at the stills is making me laugh. Yeah. It's so well done. So yeah, and the breakout film for Vincent Cassel, really too, right?
At least for American audiences. I mean, he was already pretty famous in France, but yeah, for us, this is kind of like our first real big exposure to him. Yeah, he's a smooth guy, very smooth, very.
Yeah, literally his capoeira. I'm sure he had a body double, of course, but the capoeira segment.
With the legs and stuff. Yeah, that was cool.
So great. The music in it, everything was wonderful in this movie. It's just kind of a
Rusty Ryan, always eating something.
How did Brad Pitt not gain 30 pounds shooting this movie? I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great film. I heartily endorse that as well. And I'm going to take a really obvious one off the board real quick, in case it's somehow in your list, your voluminous list of 50 down to 5. I'm doing Eat, Pray, Love. It's not the greatest movie, but it's a great travelogue of a movie. I mean, you have, Julia Roberts is basically, globetrotting around the world, trying to, get her mojo back. You have her in India, getting in touch with spirituality. You have her in Thailand, right?
I think India, Bali.
Yeah. And look at these countries include Australia, Canada, Germany, India, Japan, United Kingdom, United States. I mean, Antarctica's feeling left out, but that's about it. Yeah, so she really got her travel on, and this actually smacks like I heard that Adam Sandler now only wants to do, he gets paid stupid money from Netflix, basically do movies where he gets to just travel to go to a fun place with his friends. That's why he picks his movies now. Murder mystery, yeah, I want to go spend some time on a yacht in the Mediterranean. So yeah, I'm gonna go there and do that.
Just go with it in Hawaii. Yeah,
exactly. That's why he picks his movies now. And
by the way, how did he get stuck in New York's boring old New York City with uncut gems, huh?
Obviously he was looking for a change of pace. He had an Oscar pang. I don't know, didn't quite work out for him. But Eat, Pray, Love. Get your the white girl version of how Stella got her groove back around the world. Very good to see if you want to see it in a lot of different places.
Yeah, it's true. And actually, that movie has done tremendous things for the places portrayed in that movie. I mean, Bali blew up after that movie. Blew up. It's now this huge, digital nomad center. You get a lot of people just coming through, doing the Julia Roberts tour. They're having a look. They're relocating.
Julia Roberts tour.
Yes, yeah. I have friends that have, relocated to Bali. I know loads of people in the tech space who've done it. And I think a lot of that popularity owes itself to this movie.
Have you been to Bali? I'm going to start asking you that this afternoon. Yeah, of course. Of course you have. Yes. Okay. No, I'm just living your best life. Don't mind me. Just over here, slaving away, trying to make a dream come true someday so I can travel like Kia Davis. Yeah.
Do it. I'm telling you. Yeah, I have been to Bali, but I went before this movie came out, frankly. And I mean, it was nice. It's still nice, but it wasn't the place to go until after this movie. I'll also say I was in Naples about 4 or 5 years ago, and the pizza place that she goes to in the movie where they have that thing about like, oh, life is too short, eat the pizza.
That's right.
Yeah, that place has her photo on the wall.
Of course they do.
In a line out the door. And maybe it was like that before. I have no idea, but they have really leaned into the fame of this. Yeah. But it is a great movie. And of course, just
product placement.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my film. What's your third film, Kia?
So my third film, and let me just ask a few questions about the rules. Does it have to be one that you recommend or just one that exists?
Do what you feel.
Okay.
I just did Eat, Pray, Love, and like I said, it's not the greatest movie, but it's an amazing travelogue.
It's got a thing. Yeah, it's got a thing. I'm going to pick Sex and the City too, not because I like it. The movie is not good. If you were a Sex and the City addict like I was, it's worth watching just because you can't be without knowing what these girls are up to, right? Mm-hmm. So it does have sort of the requisite, like the four women who are sort of mysteriously wealthy in New York City, and talking about their lives and relationships. And if you like Big, he's in this, and Samantha is outrageous.
Yep.
All of this. It is not a good film, but the locales and stuff that it shows.
Abu Dhabi, right?
Abu Dhabi, which I don't think was shot in Abu Dhabi because it does not make them look good at all.
Okay. They never would have gotten approval, huh?
No, and they actually do a lot of film financing, actually. So they have
absolutely.
Yes,
Film really Nation, right?
Isn't that Image Nation?
Image Nation, thank you.
Image Nation, yeah. So they're doing a lot of film financing and funding, and sort of getting different productions out. But this movie is what you see is Abu Dhabi has nothing to do with Abu Dhabi. The UAE as a whole, of which Abu Dhabi is one city, is very open, very cosmopolitan, and it made it look like this backwoods place. So at one point, she's sort of surrounded by locals who are screaming at her and slut shaming her. That doesn't happen. And both Dubai and Abu Dhabi are some of the wildest places I've ever been to. So,
two quick questions. I mean, as a cultural cul-de-sac, and aside, since you used to live in Dubai and can give us woman on the ground intel. Yep. Two questions I had about this. Two misconceptions I'm sure several Americans, or maybe this dumb American has about UAE. So, are you allowed to drink alcohol there?
Yes, everyone there is an alcoholic. Not everyone.
Is it like publicly frowned upon and just like done in like speakeasies, or is it just like everyone just drinks and it's fun?
Let me tell you. So I lived in Dubai for 8 years, and it is a party town. It is a party town. People are out there getting it in on a daily basis. No, they really are. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they have the energy, because like I was really on the salsa scene, and you would turn up to a salsa place at like 11 and it's kind of quiet. And then at 12:31, people will start to show up, and you start talking to people, and you're like, "What do you do?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm a teacher. I have school in 5 hours." The place is wild.
So drinking's allowed. Okay, that's one thing.
Very allowed. Yes.
All right, now other thing I heard about is public displays of affection are frowned upon, right? Like you can't be like holding hands and stuff like that with women, Okay, got it.
Holding hands is fine. Nobody's really going to care, but you're not going to want to stick your tongue down someone's throat in front of a police
station. That's kidding. Okay, fair enough. And then also, do you have to have your head covered at all times as a woman outside?
No. Almost never. The only times when you would have to is if you're going into a mosque.
Okay.
And even that is not going to happen that often, because very few mosques are open to non-Muslims. Now, obviously, I say this as a Western woman. There are different social rules, let's say, if you're a citizen. So there's a lot that's really expected of them in terms of decorum, right? Oh. So I know that the Emirati women would be expected to wear that, in public a lot more. Mostly just to kind of identify, themselves as being locals, and to, to project a certain image of the culture. But as a Western woman, they do not expect you to wear it ever. And in fact, and actually, I'd like to address this, because while we're on the topic of, movies in Abu Dhabi, so as you may know or notice, but Black celebrities absolutely love the UAE. They love Abu Dhabi. They love it. I understand why. So Will Smith.
Is it because they love us back, or is just that?
Yes, they love us back. Yes. Yeah, man. I remember going to a comedy thing, and there was this brother from Brooklyn who had this great joke that he said that Black people love it there, and white people hate it there because they treat us the same.
When equality feels like oppression. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a utopia, but it's just so easy to live there. It is so easy to live there. And it's funny because even as a celebrity, like I said, particularly the Black celebrities. So we used to really laugh at Tyrese when he came over for the Fast and Furious. I forget which one it was that was shot in Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, next thing you know, there he is in a kandura, which is the robe, and he's talking about, he's basically like trying to go native as much as possible,
Oh
and
my
it is
gosh.
hilarious, hilarious. And then when he would fly back into the country to hang out, he would like show up in a kandura, and it's like, dude, it's not that serious. They don't expect it, and it's actually kind of weirdly confusing. But do you? But Will Smith loved it. Idris Elba comes through there periodically. Trevor Noah used to come there and perform, and a lot of these guys would. Where I lived they had a couple of performance venues, so a lot of these guys would be performing in in the outdoor, beach club kind of near me. So I'd look out the window. I'd be like, oh, is it Idris tonight? Oh, okay. So DJ Desi Def would do like the, New Year's Eve and everything. So,
where are we going, Kia? So it's always been on my bucket list anyway. They have such incredible, like, inventive architecture. Dropping some sand islands and make them look like the palms. But they don't care. Oh, we're gonna have an indoor ski slope in 100. Why not? I mean, they don't care. They're building a hyperloop now. We need an infrastructure program here in the United States. Why can't we get our hyperloop? What the hell? I mean, well, I get it. It's a kingdom. You can just kind of ram through stuff. No public discussion. Seattle's very famous for meetings, but they're the anti-Seattle. They just, you want hyperloop from Abu Dhabi to Dubai? Fine, fuck it, let's do it. It'll be in 2 years, so whatever.
The Sheikh snaps his fingers. I gotta tell you, it's I'm pro democracy, but
autocracy.
That's a strong contender. That's a strong contender. Let me tell you, things get done. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'll steer us out of the cultural cul-de-sac back onto Sex and the City. But yeah, that's actually a great. That's a great catch. I did not think of that on my list, and you're absolutely right. I enjoyed seeing Abu Dhabi because I mean, especially 2010. I mean, very much was newish to my bucket list. I was still kind of learning about this stuff. It was very, very new to me. I was very excited to see, half, 2/3 of the movie set in the desert. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Well, you mentioned one that was on my list, so I'm just going to go ahead and cross it off. And of course, it's Fast and the Furious 7. And a hallmark of the Fast and Furious movies is that they just go everywhere now. And first of all, it's fun. Second of all, it's smart because they really do try to get a global collective for an audience. And as they've gone ever more ridiculous and ever more globetrotting, they've increased their exposure to ever more cultures. And it's just smart. I mean, this one, I think this starts off, this is in California desert, fine. Starts off in the US. No, actually, I'm not sure if it starts off in the US, but it's in the US at one point. I believe was this the one where they had him in Cuba? No, that was Fast 8. Never mind. They're all sort of kind of blurred together for me. But it does get the Dominican, allegedly, where they drop off Paul Walker's character, R.I.P. Paul Walker. So you got the Dominican covered there. You have, was that Dubai or Abu Dhabi? I always get them confused. I'm sorry.
Abu Dhabi. So this one was Abu Dhabi.
Where you jumped the cars between the. Are you a fan do you watch the Fast and the Furious movies, Kia?
I'm going to be honest with you. I do now. Yes, I didn't for the longest time.
I thought you were going to lie to me. No, okay.
I fought it for a long time, and then I kind of discovered it about a year ago because they had some marathon on TV, and they had 6 of them in a row, and I sat there and I was like, "This is the best thing ever." Let me tell you.
No, why did you fight it? Because it seemed anti-intellectual? I mean, it just looked like dumb cars and jocks?
No, it's just, I mean, what's the PC way of saying yes? It's such a like a testosterone fueled franchise, which is great, right? But I'm not that into cars. I know. I mean, although that said, it hit me recently. That also means the eye candy is off the charts. So
yes, you've been missing out. You've been depriving yourself unnecessarily here.
Why?
Room in your room.
So it never seemed particularly story driven, and it isn't. But there's something about it that I picked up on this time of doing the binge watching, which is that. This is going to sound really weird. I don't know that much about the creators of the franchise other than Jason Blum, because that's a whole interesting story. But but it's very it's almost like a giant Sunday school parable with cars, right?
Okay, this is weird. I thought you were going to go into the ever-present theme of family. They just beat us over the head with the last 4 or 5 episodes, installments. But tell me about how it's a Sunday school parable, please.
It's this massive Sunday school parable about doing the right thing, and they're always like, it's family, it's for the family, it's number one, family. Yeah, so they push that like to death, right? But when you kind of start to peel back the layers, you realize it's like, for those of us who went to Sunday school, it's a lot of kind of doing the right thing and sticking up for what you believe and like saying sorry when you're wrong and being kind and
honoring your word.
Yeah. It's really, and like, that sounds really cheesy, but once I figured that out, I was like, oh my goodness, Sunday school would have been a lot easier if that's what this was all about. It's one like moral dilemma after the other, and forgiveness is a huge thing, right? Forgiveness, and being true to yourself and all of this. So yes, okay, so it's a very adult after school special, right?
Fair.
But there is something about it that's just incredibly sweet, and I think that is an element that's missing from a lot of these like muscle car type of movies, is that that sort of like humanitarian aspect, and also just how much it really celebrates male friendship, right? So you do you do sort of see this other places, but here they really take it to another level. So I actually did enjoy it for that.
Oh, okay. Well,
I know.
No, it's true. Well, I'm just glad to have you in the Fast family. I mean, these things will go on forever, indefinitely. Rumor has the next one is going to space. I'm here for it.
So of course it is.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they meant 9, but definitely 10 or 11. They're going to space. It's happening. So I mean, once you're airdropping cars out of C-140s and stuff. I mean, where else can you go but further up, So yeah, they just keep topping themselves. I love it. And in the process, they take us around the globe. So that's my 3rd film. What's your 4th film, Kia Davis?
So my 4th film is going to be one of my favorite films ever. Rom-com, I guess. Very sweet. The Last Holiday.
Oh, okay.
The Last Holiday. Queen Latifah. And it's kind of, it's been out there for a while, but oh no.
No. I'm funny. There it is. Oh, Last Holiday. Okay.
Last Holiday. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, do tell, because I either suffered in silence through this one or I walked out. I can't remember which.
Oh no. It is the best movie. It is so sweet. But I also really like it for personal reasons. So which are that the culinary ones, honestly. I mean, it's pretty simple. There's her and Gerard.
What's the premise of this again for those who haven't seen this movie?
The premise is Queen Latifah is this kind of, lower middle class woman living in, I forget where, but some city in the US. And she's always on a diet and trying to lose weight, but she loves cooking, so she makes these amazing meals and then takes a photo of them and then gives them away. So this is before Instagram, and so and there are places that she wants to go, but she never has the time, and she, there's foods that she wants to eat, but she doesn't want to spend the calories and all this. And then she's diagnosed with a terminal disease, and she's like, screw it. So she goes to the bank, she withdraws everything she has, she takes off to Europe to basically blow it all in a weekend. And at this point, my mom's in the next room, so I can't swear, but she's all out of F's, right?
She's all out of F's. All right.
She's all out of F's. She couldn't give an F what anyone thinks about her, what she's there to do, whatever. She's there to enjoy herself, have a good time, and it's really kind of, I think, almost like a metaphor for just like maturity, especially as women. We spend a lot of time worrying about what we think other people want us to do, or what we should do, or what we should look like, or waiting for the right moment or the right person. That's the other thing. Like, yes, LL is in there, and yes, technically it's a romantic comedy, but this movie is about her. It's about her finding her, right? And along the way, just being this magnetic force to people who are, really powerful, whatever, because they're like, oh, there's one scene where they're like, literally like, who is that woman over there? Like, she's amazing. She just, she's just doing her thing.
She let her soul glow.
She's got her soul glow.
Call back to our last podcast.
So yeah, it's very sweet. It's a really sweet movie. Like when you're feeling down, especially like if you're a woman, like this is the movie to remind yourself of like how fierce you are. It's really good. It's really good.
Well, for that, I love it for you. That is excellent. Thank you. That's excellent.
Yeah.
My fourth film is going to be The Thomas Crown Affair.
That is a sexy movie.
If only you could see your eyes right there. That was priceless. I'm gonna try to make sure I use that as the still, as the Instagram and Facebook still. Your eyes, Thomas Crown, yes. Thomas Crown Affair.
Yes.
Obviously the Pierce Brosnan one. This thing, I mean, so stylish and lovely. And honestly, there isn't a ton of globetrotting. He does the second continent in play is when he takes her off for the weekend in, like, I guess the Bahamas or something like that, Central America, whatever. So, but I mean, but otherwise, he lives a really lavish life, and I just like the style of it all. Yeah. And everywhere he goes, just super deluxe. I mean, just very, just very, jaunty. I mean, he's parasailing, sailing. I mean, this was very sexy, and I think they're in Jamaica or somewhere in the Caribbean. Just very hot, very hot. Rene Russo in that dress, man.
And the dress,
that sheer dress, boy. Ooh, boy. Rene Russo, you could still get it. Yeah, and I mean, this whole thing with the airplane, the weird. I mean, I've never seen I guess a non-engine airplane thing before. That was weird, but very cool. I mean, very sexy, very hot, and very stylish, and they do jaunt off to the Bahamas. And for some reason, when I thought of Globetrotting movies, this one sprung up to mind, even though they spend the bulk of it in New York. He's Thomas Crown's a billionaire art thief. All right, whatever. But like this image right here, just this image on her face, this pure contentment.
Pure.
Not only comes from being showered in wealth and luxury, whatever, but being with someone you are falling for and just having spent an entirely wonderful, unexpected time.
Yes.
I mean, secretly, I think all men who are into women want to put that type of smile on a woman's face someday.
Absolutely. And every woman wants to have it. Absolutely. Yep.
Just bliss. So Thomas Crown Affair. That's,
Good pick. Oh man, those are two actors really like at their finest. And that's the thing, that's when we could have like smoldering sex on screen, and like it's all just about sort of art thieves and jewel thieves and whatever. And oh god, it was it's a good movie.
The anticipation was I mean, you knew they were gonna hook up, but it's like even though she's hunting him, she's an insurance investigator trying to essentially investigate him as the art thief, and he's like, I'm gonna keep leaving you a little breadcrumb. I'm not gonna let you know. I'm gonna tease you. Or as our boy Matthew McConaughey would say in Magic Mike, you gotta tease him. Tease, gotta tease. I mean, he was teasing the hell, and in coordination, teasing the audience as well. It was just the cat and mouse. Just I need to rewatch that soon. I love that movie. I missed that movie. I own that movie. What am I talking about? I own that movie.
See, you
watch that. Yeah. Thomas Crown Affair. All right. So, what is your final film?
Final one is
Know Your Darlings.
Little Avant-Garde, Okja, Bong Joon-ho.
Wow. I never would have come across that one. Okay.
Yeah. So I have to say, I really didn't know that much about him. Parasite was the first of his films that I saw. I was head over heels for Parasite, and I walked out of there going, Oscar.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. And so that's when I was kind of introduced into the universe of Bong Joon-ho. So, and Okja is a very unusual one. The premise is very strange, so don't let that put you off, because that doesn't really adequately describe kind of where the movie goes and what it's about, right? Because he's really great at this kind of sleight of hand with just thematically and like genre-wise, like what a movie is about. But still, I'll tell you. So it's it's kind of in the future, let's say, and there's this sort of lab or whatnot that wants to create sort of the ultimate pig. And so they kind of have these, create these like pig, raise these like young pigs, and then the idea is to send the prototype of this super pig, which is really oversized, kind of, you know, around the world. I think there's 5 different sites, and there's one in South Korea, which is where most of the story takes place. And basically, there are these, let's call them foster farmers, who are raising this pig. And along the way, there's this little girl who really develops a bond with the pig, whose name is Okja. And the terms of the agreement is you raise the pig, and then there's kind of a competition to see which pig is the best pig of all the ones around the world. And then it gets taken to, I think it's New York City, I believe, for the big kind of, you know, unveiling or whatever in the year. For the award and whatnot. And of course, this is, you know, for commercial reasons. So the pig, the idea is to find the ideal sort of genetic composition of a pig for slaughter, right? For pig farming and slaughter. So there are a lot of themes around you know, raising animals for meat. There are a lot of themes around globalization. There are a lot of themes around genetically modified organisms. So in this case, it's, you know, animals and livestock rather than seeds. There's a lot of stuff around sort of like the corporate influence on our behavior, conversations around the food supply, conversations around East versus West. There are so many like layers of things in there. It is for the most part in Korean. Jake Gyllenhaal and Tilda Swinton, as you see, are both kind of play these larger than life characters. The movie is like dark and sad and sweet and compelling. It will like just reach in and grab your heart and then yank it out. You will not be able to sort of stop watching it. You have even just like, I'm like twitching, even just like seeing stills from this scene, because the suspense is absolutely insane on this. So it's definitely, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, it's a great one. It's really a great one.
Now, you are right in that it is dark and it is weird, and I caught almost none of what you saw in it. I watched it when it came out on Netflix. It was, I think it was commissioned for Netflix or whatever. I think that Friday came out, and I watched it at night, and it was so weird, and it was creeping me out. I tapped out with at least half an hour left to go. I'm not surprised I made that far. I tapped out.
You gotta go back and watch the last half hour. Promise me. You cannot leave that unresolved. Are you kidding?
I would have to rewatch the whole thing. I kind of.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to rewatch the whole thing.
I put it mostly out of my mind. I just thought it was so weird. I thought it was so weird, and no one really explained. Hey, look, we already added 2 more movies in this thing that I was expecting to watch this week anyways. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just didn't get it. And it wasn't for me. It creeped me out. And Jake Gyllenhaal, I mean, he's a, when it comes to Netflix movies, he's a nut. He just does whatever.
Right?
He's
really
definitely a nut. He definitely goes for it. Yeah, so, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. And you're right. It does have a globalization aspect to it, which satisfies the requirements for 2 different continents.
Yep.
Okay. And so my last movie, a fairly obvious one now I think about it, and I'm trying to, well, yeah, I guess I'll go with the original, but honestly the second one was probably even more globetrottery to an extent, is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
good point. Yep.
For all you millennials, you know, sorry, but this one's for us. And this is a great movie for a lot of reasons. It's a classic Harrison Ford, peak Harrison Ford, blah, blah, blah. But this definitely, I mean, you want to talk about globe trotting. They literally had a map, and they would show like a little plane with a little drawn line, super old school style. You see the plane crossing these different continents, and you see, you know, little, you know, fade in the background, the little different terrain change and stuff. It was so cool. I mean, especially in 81, 82, we were kids. We never see anything like that. It was very cool, very kind of old school. I mean, and the globe is trotted. I mean, I think we started off in, so we start off in the jungles of South America, you know, and then we're trying to steal an Incan idol. Then he ends up going over back to, you know, Massachusetts, where he's a professor. Then he jumps to Cairo, Egypt. I mean, you know, that's 3 continents right there. And then ends up like in the South Pacific, you know, with Nazism. So it was just wild. I mean, 4 continents, and we're talking 1980. They shot this in 1980, came out in 81. So this is very, very unusual to have such a big globetrottery. Yes, that's a word now.
It's a word now.
Yeah, it's a word now. Yeah, I have an English degree. It's fine. And then, yeah, it's just, I mean, very big, sweeping in scope. Definitely, Spielberg was already on the market. Definitely, the dream team of Lucas, who had like the original story by script, and Spielberg just like directing the hell out of this. I mean, it's really turned this into a franchise you could be proud of. Really, really proud of. And the second one, I mean, I was going to mention the second one because it starts off in Shanghai, which is great, and it ends up in India. And I guess it kind of just stays in India after that. But this really is the more trottering of the two. But I just love this whole series, whole franchise. Well, not Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull was garbage. But this is really the one with Shia LaBeouf. That one's garbage.
Really bad. Shockingly bad.
Oh, I thought you were going to crank me. I was about to say, we're going to end this shit right now.
No. Like, whenever I see a movie like that has, like, really big... Because it was like... Was it Kate Blanchett? Shia LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf. I think she was in there, maybe.
Yeah, because she played the German woman with the awful accent.
Yes.
Whenever I see that, like some super famous celebrity in a terrible movie, I'm always like, did they owe someone a favor? Are they trying to like write out their contract? Like, what has happened? Did they lose a bet? Like, what's going on? That movie is god awful. But Raiders of the Ark are a classic, an absolute classic.
Yes, that seems like a perfect one to end with, of course. Can't stop, won't stop. No time for segues. We are moving on to our next segment. And actually, for those who are listening at home, we're going to take a pause for the cause to let you all know about the DraftStream game, how it's played, and how you can get involved. So we'll be back right after this. And we're back. All right. So last week's quarantine movie of the week was Harlem Nights. And actually, let me start sharing my screen before I forget. Like,
absolute classic movie, fantastic.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, I think it was kind of derided in its time, but I think over the years, people really do have a lot of affection and goodwill for that movie.
Yeah.
And as Ife said, I mean, like Eddie Murphy really was into making sure we all looked fantastic at all times.
Yeah.
So Harlem, there it is, Harlem Nights. I gotta catch you. Why you just swallow orange juice in the bottle? Why you just swallow?
I have to swallow.
That's right.
Yeah, Lois, I ain't coming home no more.
That's sunshine. Ooh, yeah. Anyway, so our quarantine movie of the week this week will be Extraction. Are you familiar with the movie Extraction, Kia?
I don't know. We might have to fight a little bit, Edwardo.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I'll watch Chris wherever he goes, whatever he does. If I can figure out where he is, I mean that quite literally. But this was not my movie, and Netflix in its way shoved it down my throat the way that they do. But I couldn't get into it.
Yes, Kia's ongoing war of UI continues with Netflix and its algorithm. She's not a fan of their setup.
I put up with it, but no, I'm not a fan. It needs work as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I truly enjoyed Extraction. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. To me, I'm an action junkie. I would preface a lot of my movie reviews back in the aughts that I am partial to action flicks and things of that nature. But this is just like adrenaline, pure adrenaline. Like once you get over a slightly slowish start, like maybe the first 10, 15 minutes, you see him sitting at the bottom of some lake meditating like a weirdo. Then it really just goes into high gear, doesn't stop, doesn't take a breath. It's awesome. Yeah. A lot of action, a lot of fights, a lot of that big oneer, which we're very proud of, the continuous shot.
Yeah.
That look like a continuous shot where it's nonstop action. I love all that shit. And basically the plot, such that there is one, is a mercenary, which is, Tyler Rake, aka Chris Hemsworth, is employed to rescue the kidnapped son of a crime lord from the mean streets of Dhaka, Bangladesh. There's the kid. Yeah. So rich kid thrown out of his element. Bodies flying everywhere, so you can see why he's pained. So I enjoyed it immensely. Not one, I mean, you're not going to, write a dissertation about why this thing works or doesn't work in your case, but it's fun. So give me your tweet length review at our Twitter account at PlayCinemaDraft. We'll be looking forward to it. All right, so it is time for our DraftStream update. Last week, we had our very first 3-spot box out, what I like to call the Gamble 24x7, the G24 box out. He took all 3 top spots in very grand fashion, total of $85, mostly on the strength of Dick Johnson is Dead and some combination of Good Morning Veronica. A very, very flexy performance by the all-time Cinema Draft money leader. And now only, I believe, $15 behind Jaybird for the all-time DraftStream money chase. So keep it up, guys. And also for those of you who were keeping up with us through the weekend, we had a very nice DraftStream special starring Jaybird himself. We had Jaybird on camera discussing a little bit of the strategy behind the game, what he does, his process, and how we know each other back in our days. Oh my goodness, almost a decade now ago in poker school. So that's a nice fun one that I'm going to probably re-up separately on the DraftStream channel. Look forward to that some point later on this week. Brown Baby, our mascot, did not do so well this week. And Henner YYZ took the $15 low ball, mostly on the strength of 2067, a truly shit-tastic looking sci-fi movie that has not been favored among audiences or critics alike. Poor guys. So that was last week. This week, we got 25 new ones. Will you be joining us this week, Kia?
Yes, actually, I think so. The weeks that I skip are just ones where I don't have the time to really do my research, but I'm going to get back in the game.
Yeah, well, we loved, it would do us a big solid, being our treasured guest this week, our featured guest this week on the podcast. We love to see you in here mixing it up, and like I said, doing your research. I love that energy. Bring that energy. Some people just throw darts at a board, doesn't work out for them. They wonder why, but we actually have data.
I'm here to win, man. I'm here to win. So yeah.
My girl, Skia, my girl, I love it. So this week we've got some interesting ones. Deaf U, I think, actually might be undervalued. Seems like people like the more heartwarming of the documentaries. We put Deaf U, and it's largely star of unknown Gallaudet University students. Shanna Clearbrook, Daquan Taylor, 11,000 each. Mal DeMarco, the producer behind it all, at 9,600. Our top salary of the week goes to One Day at a Time. Are you familiar with the show, Kia?
I am. I didn't get into it as much as other people clearly did, but I like that it exists.
I feel the same way. I watched the pilot, had a laugh track, felt a little clunky. I love, hell, I'm Latinx also. Let's get more representation here. But didn't quite do it for me. So, but I love that it exists. I love that it has a fervent, fandom behind it. It's helped it escape cancellation, I think, 3 times.
Exactly. So. Yeah, resurrected it from the dead. Absolutely. Yeah.
So good for them. But this one, the cake is baked. People love the show. Okay. I don't think there's going to be very much deviation from its score. So you're probably looking at starting out at like 112, 115. Maximum score in this game is 130. So 18,800 feels appropriate for its stars Justina Machado and Rita Moreno.
Yeah, a national treasure.
Yeah. Also, and knowing you like I do, you've probably already taken a look at this at the talent pool. Anything jump out to you from this talent pool, in so much as even if not salary, but at least something you might want to watch?
So scroll up. So the short answer is no. I haven't gotten a chance to look at this, and none of these have really popped on my radar organically. From last week, Dick Johnson is Dead. Yeah, that one was one that kind of bubbled up. The other ones, no, I'm going to have to.
Actually, you might like it. Draft Mom watched Dick Johnson is Dead, and she said it was for some reason she didn't expect it to be as about much death as it was. Okay. So a little bit dark for her, so you might like it.
But except when the deaths are real, then I get creeped out. So I can't watch true crime because that's too creepy. But the serial killer stuff is perfect.
Yeah. Well, I think Charm City King is going to do pretty well. Okay. It seems like it's already either release or made the festival circuit or something. So I think this is actually going to do fairly well. It's going to be well reviewed. Jada Pinkett Smith is a producer behind it from her hometown of Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore in the house today.
So
you might want to check that out about, street racing, bike riding, I guess. So interesting. I like going to subcultures I know nothing about. So
yeah, exactly.
Faith-based is something I actually kind of want to see. I don't want to see it. When two friends realize all faith-based films make buckets of cash, and there was that stretch in the aughts and the tens, they kind of did.
Yeah. I'm still into them, man, because it's always like, something really bad happens to somebody who's really good, and then they gotta get the whole community together and whatever. Like the one about the girl who lost her arm while surfing. Oh, excellent.
So that's right. So now we found their audience. It is Kia.
Yeah. Weirdly. Oh my God.
Salvation is rich. Great tagline. Yeah. So this looks. I might check this out. I mean, this looks like the Tijuana Jackson Purpose Over Prison movie for me. Are you familiar with that movie, Tijuana Jackson?
No.
Yo, quick aside in our asides, but Tijuana Jackson was one, came in under the radar. I didn't know much about it. Romney Malco knew about him. Regina Hall knew about her, of course. Okay. Saw the trailer. It looked like it was going to be craptastic. It is legitimately. It is probably the funniest movie I've seen all year.
Okay.
So good. So I mean, it's a mockumentary of a guy in prison who's a career recidivist. Let's put it that way. Finally getting out of prison. Gonna go straight. He swears he's gonna go straight this time because he's found his purpose over prison as a motivational speaker, and all he dreams about doing is getting put on as a motivational speaker. Okay. And he's basically using a lot of prison logic towards normal everyday problems. It's so funny. It's so funny. He's built his entire life around the system, which is sad, of course, and it's fucked up. And they talk about at the very end about how, prison really isn't anything to joke about. The system's fucked up, whatever. I'm using this as satire to show the inequities in the system and how, entraps, black men disproportionately. So he does a disclaimer at the end, but even throughout the satire of purpose over prison, is just so clear with how he's using, just hood rat / prison logic problems to solve everyday issues. It's very, or solutions to solve everyday problems. It's very, very entertaining. I highly recommend it. A quick 90-something minutes. You will laugh your tail off. I swear.
Great.
It's so good. So good. All right, anyways, but back to this week. Faith-based, I think, could be a sleeper. I know I'm intrigued. Fear of the Walking Dead. I don't know, man. So this is going to be the third week in a row. There's some sort of new Walking Dead show out. I think fatigue might set in. I mean, you kind of want to say at 12,200 and this being season 6 that the ratings are going to be what they are, but I don't know, man. Fear the Walking Dead, The World Beyond just came out in last week's game and it got savaged. It actually made our what did it do? Yeah, it made the low ball 70.70 actually isn't too bad, but the ratings for it were dismal. Dismal. Was it 38 and a 48? So yeah. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, people love The Walking Dead, so I'm not into zombies and stuff, but that one seems like a toss-up to me right now. And Hubie Halloween. I mean, critics are going to hate it. Audience is going to love it. So act accordingly. It's Adam Sandler on Netflix.
It's Adam Sandler, so I already hate it. Yeah.
Now, I will say this. Have you watched Murder Mystery? Of course you have.
I have. No, I have.
Oh, what do you think of that one? I thought it was cute.
I liked it. No, I did. It was very respectable. But I also liked, what is it? There You Have It, or whatever the other one he did with Jennifer Aniston. I credit Jennifer Aniston with making his movies watchable, frankly. She
is oddly in the 90s and the aughts. She's overrated to the point where she's underrated, and now people kind of love to kind of bag on her, and I don't know why, because she's excellent in the morning show. Did she win an Emmy for it? I think she deserved the Emmy. I think she won an Emmy for it. She's excellent in the morning show, and now she's surprisingly underrated again. I mean, I was surprised. I mean, she's kind of like, Rachel McAdams is a okay comp, but not fair, because Rachel McAdams is great in everything she's in, and she never gets like underrated per se. But the way Rachel McAdams is always kind of goes for it. If you need her to go up, she goes up. You need to go down, she goes down. You need to be one of the guys, she just goes for it, right? So I see a bit of that element more so in the latter part of her career in Aniston now than we did earlier on. Earlier on is all about the hair and the Rachel and all sort of stuff. And,
but she was always a very good comedic actress. Like, yes, she was pretty, and they billed her as like the pretty girl on Friends. Okay, fine. I mean, all three actresses were gorgeous, so it seemed a bit of an arbitrary thing, but fine. But Jennifer Aniston has great comedic timing, and her expressions are fantastic. So,
I'm actually working my way back to the Friends oeuvre. I haven't done it's like 200 episodes. I mean, who really does it? But I'm doing it. I'm like back half of season 2, so I've already ingested like 30 something episodes. And you're right, she's got great comedic timing. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So she's earned it.
Yeah, so that's our talent pool this week. Everybody, make sure you play. Make sure you get in your call sheets. The link is in the description profile, or actually, I'm sorry, in the description for this episode. Click that link. Join the game. We once again have $100 prize pool eligible for our top 3 non-Cinema Draft employee call sheets. $50 for first, $25 for second, $10 for third, with a $15 low ball bonus. We have the rules all mapped out here for you on how to compete with both. You get up to 3 call sheets you can submit. Come get this free money. You're stuck at home. You're quarantining like a responsible adult. Why not? You can get this money, everybody. And we're going to bring this in for a landing. Thanks so much, Kia Davis, for coming on the pod. Glad to have you. Yes, that's right. That's right. You are awesome, and you are once again worming your way back to my life. I love it. So we're gonna have you back again and again. You are excellent to talk to. We love having you. This is the time where we ask our guests to plug something that they want to plug. It can be yours. It can be someone else's. This is your time to shine. Go ahead, Kia Davis. Plug your ish.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, what do? I work with entrepreneurs. I help them find funding.
Well, not all of us. I'm just kidding.
It's like, we haven't had that talk yet. But anyway. And I am quite busy at the moment, but actually this is going to be really weird, but I just kind of want to say one of the things that, has been on my mind a lot lately is the death of Lynn Shelton in May. So she was a filmmaker from the Seattle area. She was one of the sort of mumblecore crew. She was just this really brilliant talent and filmmaker. And she was also Mark Maron's girlfriend. If you follow that, then because he's been talking about that quite a bit. But I just think cinema really lost one of the greats, and she just had tremendous potential, but was already really accomplished. So I still am sort of grieving her loss, frankly. So that's kind of the one thing. Sorry to end it on a downer, but that's been one thing that's been on my mind a lot lately.
Oh, well, big ups to Lynn Shelton. We miss you. I feel bad. I meant to watch Laggies and I never did, so I'm adding that to the list as well. Have you seen Laggies?
I have, with Keira Knightley. I have kind of been Keira Knightley, had sort of suspiciously 2 young friends, you know what I mean? Where you're hanging out and you're like, I'm the oldest one in here by a lot, and maybe I should look at myself. So I can relate a little bit more than I really should be able to.
Yeah, and if that's what that's about, then yes, I'm intrigued again. Let me write. I'm just writing down Laggies.
Laggies, yeah.
All right. Allegedly set in Seattle. Did she film in Seattle? Or did she go to Vancouver like everybody else?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'd have to look.
Come on, Washington. Get your tax credits together. Come on.
I know, right? Yeah.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of the Cinema Draft Podcast. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you all for playing. Make sure you get your call sheets into me by 6 p.m. Pacific time this Thursday. That's right. By the time you're watching this, that means tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We love it. We'll be back next week with another great Cinema Draft guest, another great top 5. As always, I'm Edwardo. This is DraftStream Cinema Draft. We'll see you next week.